today I'm going to walk you through a small bay industrial building.
Can you try your non-YouTube voice?
I'm going to walk you through a friend of mine's building. He just bought it, and it's pretty cool. It's going to be super exciting. Buckle up. Okay, so we're here now. This is actually going to look super staged because I already went in and talked to Darren. So he's going to be waiting for us. This is going to look like a traditional YouTube opening, though. Hey, Darren.
Hey, Chad.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Come on in, Nolan. Congratulations, first of all. This looks awesome. I've been through it once already. I loved it. Had to get a video tour of it. Tell me why you bought the building in the first place.
Our business was looking to expand in the future, and we possibly needed to expand further beyond that as well. So this space allowed us to get to the current capacity that we're going to need for the next few years, and then possibly future opportunity as well for that. So in thinking about that versus leasing my own space, the cost consideration was that if I was going to commit for another 20 plus years, it would probably be better to look at operating my own building versus leasing from somebody else.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember the stats on this again, but it's 6 bays. Each bay is 30 square feet.
Yep.
You took 2.
I took 2, yeah.
And one of these was an old woodworking shop, and then the other one, what did they do in the last one again?
There was a roofing company in the last one.
Company.
Yeah.
So real traditional industrial uses.
Yep.
But this is almost quasi flex building, and you fully renovated this. So it's mostly office space for your construction company and a little bit of warehouse space, which we'll look back at the beginning, at the end. But the building, 12,000 square feet. What's the full size?
13,380 is the total
13,380
square footage among 6 bays.
And just over an acre.
And just over an acre of land, yeah.
What made this building appealing? Why'd you pick this one?
And honestly, the building appealed to me because of the simplicity of it. I mean, it's a big rectangle. It's got no funny roof shapes or anything to deal with. The roof was in good shape because it had recently been done. The yard is fenced off, so we have access to store a little bit outside, non-tempered items in the yard itself, some trailers, things like that. And just ample parking, and I like the size. I was looking for somewhere in and around that 10,000 square foot mark for growth opportunity for the business. This one came in a little bit bigger than that, but that just allows me some ability to lease other spaces out.
So you have two bays that you're using for the construction company, 4 bays remaining.
Yeah.
Traditional industrial uses, where there's a machine shop in one, another one that makes men's razors, I believe.
Yeah, so kind of a combo machine shop engineering firm, and then another actual machines shop, and they service the energy industry.
Cool. And then you might take another one at some point in the future. Right now, the space fits for what you're doing, but you have the flexibility to move into that one.
Absolutely.
What was the process like when you were buying this and going through the due diligence? You did an environmental report, did an appraisal, you did an inspection. Any surprises come up with that?
No surprises on this one. I was impressed at how in-depth and long the reports were, how far they looked back, even into before this building was set on this land. So it was a very good detailed report, and we didn't have any environmental surprises. None of the shops or anything that had operated in here before caused any concern.
And the roof was done fairly recently too, right?
Roof was done, I think, in 2 stages over 2021 and 2022, if I'm not correct. And then a little bit of asphalt had been done as well, so that definitely helped make sure that the space was going to move on into the future without too many big costs.
Yeah, the biggest cost is always the roof. Yeah. Especially in these older industrial buildings that were in the 70s and early 80s, if they hadn't had a roof replaced, that's coming up for a roof replacement, and that could be a big cost. It would be anywhere from $12 to $20 a square foot.
Yeah,
quickly.
Yeah, and I believe this building being 1971, it fit that mark for sure to need that roof. And we haven't had any troubles with it. We've done the modifications we need, and everything looks like it's in good shape.
And asphalt being another big one too. And the asphalt you can see. That's the one perk with if you're looking at an industrial building is you can just drive up. You're literally driving on the asphalt so you can see it. The roof you can't see. You need to actually get a a qualified roofer up there to actually see it, but at least with the asphalt, you can see it when you pull up.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did the building assessment, we did the environmental assessment, and then of course the financial risk and assessment as well. So it all went through and no big surprises.
And then tell me about the renovation, because I think this is the coolest part. We'll walk through it shortly here, but tell me what you did with the 2 bays.
Sure. So we had 2 separate bays in here. In between each bay, it's demised with cinder block walls, and it's a cinder block wall construction on the outside of the building as well. Steel in between, obviously, for columns and beams. We decided that in order to take 2 bays, we were going to have to open up a certain amount of area to allow access between. But the intent was not to just take down the center wall completely. The intent was only to kind of open up spaces that were going to make functional sense to us. So we ended up with 3 openings in total, one of them being 18 feet in the front of the building here to accommodate some offices along the front, and then a small man door opening, and then another one in the warehouse or the shop space so that we could get back and forth with equipment and materials.
Very cool. Tell me about the floor. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, the floor. The whole idea behind the design intent on this building for the interior was to kind of understand we are in an industrial space. So let's keep it looking somewhat industrial. We are a general contractor. This is some of the work that we do for our own clients as well. And so we wanted to make sure it kind of showcased some of the work that we could do and not just hide everything behind a fancy finish. So the floor, we decided to go along with a polished concrete product. And so the certain trench marks you see in the floor either were trench marks that we had to complete ourselves in order to move some of the sanitary around, or old trench marks from before where you've got different pores between the original concrete and what was done to backfill the trench. And so it shows up with different aggregates and with different finishes. Some of it's a little bit smoother, but it all has a nice clean finished polished top to it.
Very cool. And then from floor to ceiling, this is awesome. It's very similar to what we did with our office, is leave this exposed to the steel deck and paint it black. Very similar to what we did in our office. Was this a big undertaking, or is this the easier part?
The space, well, because we gutted it completely, this was easier to manage. It allowed us to pick a certain elevation to build our walls to, our finished walls to, and then it also allowed us to define a lighting height. So really, your eye doesn't necessarily go above the 10-foot mark, but it allows for any modifications, anything we want to do in the future, and not having to put, once again, that industrial look, not having to put a real clean finished ceiling all over the place. We wanted to keep it exposed. If you really focus up, you can see all the ductwork, you can see everything, as much as it is painted out.
And is this over the office? Is that just drop T-bar? It's just a suspended ceiling grid?
Yeah, so we suspended a ceiling grid over top of each office down at a 9-foot height, so it gives the offices a bit more of a finished feeling. We also finished the floor in there to kind of create a warmer environment for the employees. And so we did some additional insulation work up on top of the T-bar, and we did some acoustical duct work for the return airs as well, so the sound from in the office does not transfer and come back out into here. And vice versa, if the office door is closed, there's not a lot of sound transfer between the common area and the offices.
So awesome industrial vibe in here. Love the column. Tell me what you did, how you opened this up.
Sure. So when we opened up the cinder block wall, the first 18 feet here, obviously we exposed the structural column that was kind of hidden behind some cinder block facade, but it was really just kind of a top treatment over top, and then it tied into the remaining wall. So I wanted to leave this exposed, kind of showcase that this is the structure in behind, but I wanted to give it a little bit of flair, have it stand out a little bit versus just painting it to try to hide it. So we found a metallic colored paint, and this is a penny copper paint. And we actually also use the same paint over in the man door opening here, because we have structural lintels that span over top of the opening in order to carry the weight on the cinder block on both sides. And so we use the same paint there to kind of highlight the opening as well.
Very cool. As you mentioned, your eye doesn't really go above that space, and there's a cool gradient. There's a lighting gradient where very bright here, and then it trails off into just almost pure darkness above there. I think that open ceiling concept is so cool. Let's take a look at the boardroom. Some of the cool spots that I like the most in here, the boardroom in your office. And just the open feel of this is really cool as well. Having this much space, it doesn't feel as claustrophobic or condensed as a lot of spaces feel. This is just really open, and it's got a very cool feel to it.
Sure, yeah. We finally got large enough ourselves to have a spot where we can sit around, weekly meetings, safety meetings, that kind of thing as part of our operations. So in each space in every office, including the boardroom, we added a feature wall, and we decided to bring some of that warmth and wood look into it to balance the industrial look. So we went with a reclaimed barnwood look from a local supplier actually here in town. And it's a reclaimed pine, and it comes in a scattered arrangement of colors. And so we were able to apply this treatment to every office and every room.
Okay, let's take a look at your office, which I think is the cornerstone. You've got the coolest office in town.
Yeah, with the layout, we had to create a couple offices here where we've got a little bit more space. So myself and another person in our office, it does a lot more paper pushing and a lot more work. We've got a little bit of a wider space. I wanted to make use of the space with a little sitting environment. And it just gives you an opportunity when you're talking to employees or other people in the company to just sit a little bit somewhere more on the same plane and comfortable, and everybody can relax and just have a conversation about whatever the problem of the day is and not necessarily have to sit across a desk from each other. So it creates a little more comfortable spot to sit.
And the tripod?
The tripod, yeah. So that tripod was my grandfather's tripod, and when I took up photography, it's quite a bit heavier and more cumbersome to use than a newer age one, so I needed something to do with it. So I took it apart and I turned it into a lamp, so I really kind of enjoyed the photo aspect of that.
As photographers ourselves, including cameraman Nolan, we definitely appreciate anything to do with photography. That reminds me, there's another one over there as well that you converted all.
Another conversion
Nikon.
of a Nikon film camera into a lamp over there for the desk lamp, yeah.
We'll add some B-roll to that.
Yeah, there you go.
So then you've got all perimeter offices here, and you punched in windows too that weren't in there originally, right?
Yeah, so we put a 4x4 approximate window into each perimeter office. It gave all 6 offices that we have in now an employee's opportunity to be able to have natural light in, which we didn't have at all before. So that was one of the feature items. The employees came in, big smiles on their faces. I said, "How do you like the space?" They said, "I love my window." And so it's really nice to understand that people are more comfortable in that environment to see the natural daylight all day long.
Never underestimate the value of having natural light into a space.
No.
Any way you can get light in, whether it's a direct window like you did, or some of these have side lights, or windows in the door that spills even more light in.
Yeah.
That's one thing an employee will never complain about, is having too much light. So yeah, well done. This just looks great. It's very bright. The contrast is awesome with the super dark exposed ceiling and then all the light coming in. Very cool. And then kitchen break room over here.
Kitchen break room, yeah. So got an opportunity to expand a little bit and allow the employees to have a more dedicated space for their lunch, which actually we did host our company Christmas party when we opened in mid-January, and it allowed a great opportunity for people to kind of mingle, and the space was wide open, so it was nice and roomy for us to be able to do that all as one big group. We've
done a corporate Christmas party for a number of years now, where we've gone to a lodge and there's tons of people there in other companies. And this last year we did one where it was more private, and it was such a big difference for having the ability to be just with people that you know, and it's not overwhelming with a bunch of other people. So the ability to have a function here is huge, great benefit to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had the opportunity now to be able to kind of organize things a little better for the employees. So we got snack drawers that are nice and stocked up. We got lots of nice drinks and stuff in the fridge. So people just kind of come, and if they need a little bite, they've got something that they don't have to worry about what they packed or going out to get something. It's all kind of right here.
Very cool. Okay, let's see the warehouse.
The warehouse.
My favorite spot, but as much as I love the office, I just love warehouses.
I can shut those heaters off for a minute.
Yep, might not be a bad idea. So you built this out roughly half office, half warehouse, give or take?
Yeah, we've got about 1,600 square feet of warehouse between the two sides here, and that provided us approximately 600 more square feet than we had before, so a little bit of flex space.
And let's talk some specs. We'll nerd out on some specs here. Ceiling height, what are we at? I guess we could do clear ceiling height and then to the deck.
Yeah, clear ceiling, we're about 16 feet and from the beams, and then you got about another 2 feet. So we're about 18 feet to the underside of the deck in this space.
And with small bays like this, I'm guessing none of the other tenants have had issues with it. This building's fully occupied now. Do you see that being a concern of only that ceiling height, or is that par for the course with small bay?
I don't think so. I think it's par for the course, but as well, like as far as a tenant ourselves making use of it, it was actually an attractable item for us, because we don't need 26, 35, linear feet of open space. It just ends up being empty space to heat, and ends up being empty space to to not have any functional use for our uses. So I think there's a lot of companies that really don't mind having that lower bay.
Yeah, I found the same thing as well. Unless a company wants to use that cubic footage for racking, or they have some specialized use, like a granite company, for example, they usually need to have a certain height as they're picking granite up over other height, and then it needs to be the crane height that accounted for. But for most companies that will occupy small bays like this is more than fine. Grade loading doors, so the companies can drive in same level as the road level. Any thoughts on grade versus dock loading, or do you find most in this small bay are going to need grade loading?
I think grade loading works all right. For the small bays, you're handling smaller stuff, so either a power lift gate on a truck is functional, or in our case, sometimes your items are small enough, you're just hand bombing it off. I know one of the tenants here has a forklift for ease of access to some of the trucks. A nice to have would have been some sort of a balance between the two with the two bays, but it's not really necessary for our use at all.
Yeah, I found that over a certain size, you do expect to have a blend of sometimes it's even just dock loading doors, or there might be 40 dock loading doors and one grade door, some combination of that. But a lot of the small bay tenants, given the trade-off, most would rather have a grade loading door for the same reason that if you only have dock loading, it's very difficult getting things inside and out the building. So I've found that in these small bays, grade loading is perfect for it.
Yeah, most of our stuff is coming off the back of a pickup truck, or even out of a trailer itself that has a ramp. So you're wanting that grade level.
Yep. Unit heaters, cameraman Nolan, if you can take a quick look up there. How old are these unit heaters? They look fairly new.
These unit heaters are only a few years old. Yeah, I think the previous landlord had replaced a few of them in some of the bays. And so we just relocated them where we needed them based on the modification of our space. So they're still in good shape.
So most of the time you'll either see an overhead gas-fired unit like this one, or sometimes you might see radiant heating for the warehouse space.
Yeah.
For the office, usually either a rooftop HVAC unit or a forced air furnace, which you have here.
Yeah, so we went back to 2 forced air furnace. There's a trade-off, I think. There's some people that think you should have just thrown a rooftop unit on there for over 2,000 square feet, or have, in our case, we used the double forced air furnace to try to split the heating between the offices on the exterior walls and the common space on the interior. And that way we can control those environments a little bit better, make people a little more comfortable in the exterior offices by having a zone that kind of matches up to everybody sitting in the same environment. And they're easier to maintain as well. It's a residential furnace with a split. We have an AC unit, condensing unit on the roof. And so they're AC ducted in here. So it'll be cooled in the summer as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have drains in here?
No, we don't have drains in here. The ones that were in this space before, the 2 compartment sumps, they had previously been disconnected, and I guess in some capacity disallowed to drain into the city sewer system. So when we came in here for the purpose we needed, we just capped them off and infilled them back in. So we don't do a lot of vehicle traffic in and out. We don't do a lot of weathered items coming in and out. So there's not a lot of snow melt in here. If anything, it's mostly foot traffic for us. Yeah,
and you can even just tell by how clean the floors are that you're not bringing in vehicles covered in dirt and snow and power. That's the other big thing that most tenants or owners of small bay are going to be looking at. One, have 3-phase power. If you can, single phase can come with some complications and challenges, especially if you're running equipment. The load has 3-phase requirements. What's the power on each one of these bays?
Originally, one of the bays had an existing 200 amp service to it, and one of the bays had a 60 amp service to it. So we just abandoned and tucked away the 60 amp service, relocated the 200 amp service, and that's what we're using to feed both units. We're mostly in office environments, so it's pretty small power requirements there. And the shop is, for us, mostly used for equipment storage and tool maintenance and things like that. So once again, smaller power requirement compared to like a machine shop or otherwise.
Yep. Don't ever underestimate power. That is a huge issue that isn't often an issue until it becomes one. So if someone tries to hook up another machine, or they're running more power than they originally thought and they start tripping breakers, if you don't have enough power, that can become a very expensive problem to fix, if you can even fix it.
Yeah.
If you wanted to bring more power in here, what does that look like from an operation standpoint?
This building actually has one of the tenants that has a secondary power supply from EPCOR in it. So they did bring in a secondary service, and you can see it outside on the far southwest corner of the building. I don't know whether that was an issue from a previous tenant. I don't think the current tenant is necessarily using that, but it did happen quite a number of years ago.
Never underestimate the electricity. That's the main takeaway that I'd say on that. Next, lighting tied into the power. You upgraded the lighting. Older building, quite often you're going to find those really old fluorescent bulbs, or sometimes a mercury halide bulb. You upgraded these to LED.
We did, yeah. And the number of lamps it takes, I mean, we've got 5 lights in here total, other than the furnace mezzanine, that are lighting the entire warehouse space. So 1,600 square feet is almost being lit by five fixtures. So it provides a nice throw and a nice dispersion. So even when the bay doors are open, you don't lose a lot of light underneath that.
Yeah, it's very bright in here, which continues on the theme of being very bright in the front. It'd be terrible if you had this very nice front office and then the shop workers had to come back and work in a dungeon of a warehouse. So yeah, this is just as bright as up front. So very cool. Anything I've missed so far? We've covered the office, covered the renovation, covered the bay. Anything I've missed, or what you had for an experience in buying this and now having completed the renovation and occupying it?
I think one thing I can highlight for the guys in the field, or for our site teams, is that when they come here after hours, which is quite common, the office isn't open, they have access to everything now where they didn't before. So if we want to lock off our office and not allow full access to that 24 hours a day, they have access to their own fridge, their own cabinets, the washroom facilities. They can get in and out with no problem. They can come back here through the locked gate in the yard, and they can load and unload in a little bit of seclusion, right, where it's not wide open. So if they're doing it at 2 or 3 in the morning, they're not worried about leaving their truck open while they're coming to drop something off. So they feel a lot more comfortable. They've said, the site guys, even though they don't get the brand new office to sit in, they said they've really enjoyed the move.
And I'd compliment you on that, because a lot of companies, that's an afterthought. They'll say, okay, well, how does this space work for me? And it's very inward driven on whether it's the company president or the company owner or the building owner. They'll say, how does this work for me? And it's an afterthought on how does this work for my staff? And I think giving them the amenity of making them feel included in the whole thing and giving them extra amenities, I think is a great feature where you just build long-term loyalty with your staff. And in the construction business, staff is what you need. That's what you're depending on. So.
Absolutely. I put it out to the employees to find out kind of what they might like to see integrated into the new office. And I think I continued to show them the updates, so they trusted the direction it was going. But the only comment I got back was somebody wanted a disco ball in their office. So needless to say, there's a nice dollar store disco ball hanging from one of the T-bar ceilings in there.
We definitely need some B-roll of that. Tell me about Peak Built. Last thing just to end on is tell me a little bit more about Peak Built.
Sure. Peak Built General Contracting, we're a 34-year-old business. We had a previous name before Peter J's General Contracting. In the last year and a half, we've had some major succession plans that have finalized. So we changed the name to bring it up to an ability for everybody to kind of feel a part, not so personal to any one individual. And so we've been going on for 34 years. We do retail, commercial, office, light industrial, construction, mostly tenant interiors. So we don't necessarily do a ground up building, but we do all the renovations, all the fit outs, and we work from Western Canada throughout Winnipeg to Kelowna and kind of everywhere in between.
This building, by extension, is actually a pretty good portfolio for you.
Yeah.
You could just run people through here and say, this is what we do, and this is how we can have it turn out. So very cool. I guess one last thing, I lied when I said that was the last thing, is if somebody's looking at a building like this, whether they're a tenant and they want to occupy a small bay, or someone looking to buy one like you did, what advice would you give them generally, knowing that you still want to go through, you still need to hire all the reports, the environmental, appraisal, building condition, lawyer, everything involved. Everyone needs to do that due diligence. But what would you say to someone if they are considering a property like this?
I would say take the time to make sure, because it's such a large investment, that it's going to work for your operations. First and foremost, even though this was an investment opportunity for me, these 2 bays had to work for the operating company, because if they didn't, we wouldn't be here. And so that's the thing. It's the location within the city. It's the ability to have storage or yard space or access In our case, we're 2 minutes from the White Mud, 75th Street. We can get anywhere we need to in Edmonton in short order, which is important for us as well.
Wise words from my favorite general contractor. Darren, thanks so much for the tour.
Thanks, Chad.
I appreciate it. And we'll cut there. Thanks for tuning in, and let me know if these building tours are helpful, and we'll aim to do more. Thanks.